Good afternoon and welcome back to Plannercraft. Hopefully you've all done your homework. We have frames ready, including some floral frames and some decorative frames.
Did we see
as well as your
Tracy's
basics.
frame she's just put up?
I saw the one that I was commenting on, but I haven't seen one since, Tracy. So hopefully you should all be okay. You followed all my pointers.
Tracy, I can see you. Yay!
Okay.
And Zena says hi.
Hi, Zena.
So I'm here manning the comments and the windows. She says no new ones up, so yeah.
Okay.
Elon says hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so in Canvas what I did in the break is I've brought in a whole load of basic shapes and done the same action, so I have lots of basic frames to work with. So if I go to pattern, and I'm going to bring it down off the internet.
Do you want the close one?
Yes, please. Okay, so you can see our file. So we have three different sizes of each shape, and all set up with the same 4mm frame. I've left them ungrouped as well so that I can select which one I want to play with. And that's useful because I'm only going to work with one of these at a time. I also set up a matching solids group as well that I can send across if needs be. So I'm going to start with... Sorry.
No, it's picking up the pencil and trying to focus on the pencil as the pencil comes in and out.
Okay. I'll try and do my best. Let me know if it's better with or without the light. I'm starting to lose the light a little. That's with. Should be a bit better. Okay, so I'm going to go to add. Me doing it left-handed. I'm going to go into my designs. So this is so that I can use something that's on the machine as well. So we don't always want to be doing everything on the computer, otherwise it gets quite tedious and you kind of fall out of love with your machine a bit after a while, which we don't want. So I'm going to go for a squirrel, and in case you can't quite see that, it's ARJ012. Everything right?
Yeah.
So at the moment I'm in inches, so if I go too far I'm just going to change to millimetres because we know the size of our boxes are 100, 75 and 50. So at the moment this has a width of 100, so we know it's going to go the full extent of our shape. So we can go OK and OK. And we only want one. So that's brought it onto the mat. So now what you need to do is to decide which of the shapes you want to work with. So we could use that swirl and the biggest of our thin rectangles here, which means it would more or less fill the frame. Or we could work with a square and have it offset to one side, or we could have it going through a circle. So I think for this one, because it kind of looks a bit like a bit of a trouble, I'm going to go for a circle. Go for something a bit different.
Just it's a pretty swirl.
It is a pretty swirl. It's a bit like a funky treble clef. So I think that's what I'm going to treat it as. So I'm going to go into edit. Now the joy of these is we can use our two buttons to get through our different shapes. And with any shape that we decide we don't want, we can just delete it. Remember, all the time that we are working on here, we have a copy up in the cloud, so to speak, that isn't changing. And just deleting a few at a time. Okay, so make sure you always click off onto something else, and we can go back in, and we can go, right, okay, don't want that one, don't want that one, okay. And you want to go careful with the circles because obviously that's the one we want to work with. So we want our big circle, which is now highlighted, so we can get to that one and grab it. We're going to take our treble clef over here, and we can delete the middle one. we can delete that one. Okay. So now I'm going to go into the edit button and I'm going to get 2 treble clefs and go OK. I'm going to set one O to one side and then I'm going to
Try and get the screen refocus every couple of seconds.
sorry.
It's not you, it's just the phone's not picking up very well. There we go.
Okay, hopefully you can see that a bit better. Just let you see what
Can I just try something?
yeah.
Let's see if it says that better, just off that angle a bit.
Okay. So there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go into my multiple selection. I'm going to use my frame. I'm going to pull it in so it's just surrounding the one circle on my treble clef and go OK. And OK again. We're then going to weld it together. This will be a reversible, so we go OK because we already have our copy elsewhere. And then we have our frame shape and the decoration to go on top. So at this point we can go OK. If I'm going too fast for anyone, please don't hesitate to stop me. So for this one I'm going to go for no M480s when I want some.
You found it, have you?
Black 480 at that. I'm going to go for some red. And just because I want a contrast, I might go for the yellow. Let's go orange. Will it be big enough? So if we count our squares, we're looking at about 4 high. Yep, that should be more than big enough. So we can go okay at that. So do you just want to pop overhead for a minute for me? So because our design is just over that inch mark there and finishes well before that 6, so I'm just going to pop that bit of card into the middle so we know that that's going to be plenty big enough. Then our red, now because it's going to overlap a little, we're going to want to trim that down. If anybody wants me to go a bit slower, just let me know. So I'm just going to go up to 6 inches.
I haven't seen Carol pop on here.
Let us know if you're watching, Carol. Okay, so can I go back to the close-up, please? I'm going to load my map. And I'm going to do a background scan. Okay, so we can see that everything is fitting fine.
Tracy's just watching today because she finds it better, she absorbs it better. She
Okay.
watches.
So I think I'm going to go for about 5. Hedge my bets and go for a 5. And put my blade in.
Oh, Carol's there.
And I'm going to go OK. And I'm going to go to cut.
you get your PIN number when you register it online with Canvas Online. So if you've already registered it with Brother on Canvas, you can go back into your account and it will have your PIN number in there. Otherwise, I'll have a chat with you later and I can help you sort that out.
I'm going to grab my spatula, which I'm sure I put up there. It is.
To the
It's
back.
There we go. So I'm just going to peel off my large waist sections first. And we can get in here and we can very, very carefully remove our frame.
Oh, I didn't turn the captions off.
Oh dear, they're going to laugh at your captions again.
Apparently so. I'm going to turn the captions off because they're just annoying.
Okay. And you could even save the waist if you wanted to and use that for another piece, but just for this one I'm just going to take it off. Okay, so before we go too far, we know that the circle that we used was 100 mil, so we can actually create a background for our circle. So,
Can everybody hear Natalie okay today?
am I being a bit quiet? Just trying to find some card for suit. Sparkly, but no.
Sparkle. We all like a bit of sparkle, aren't
I wonder whether that might be alright, or whether that might be too much. Too much. Let's go for. See, that would be nice because it's not big enough. That's better. Not quite swing your face, that one. So I'm just going to pop this straight onto the mat.
Could be louder if you can, please.
Okay, I'll try and speak up. Headache's gone off a bit now, so I can be a bit louder. Okay, so I'm going to go home and OK to delete. Pattern, basics, circle, already at 100, set. Okay, so we know that our mat now looks a bit different, but that's fine. We don't need to do a whole other scan for that. Should be fine to leave it at 5.
Let me end up catching that. I know you're mumbling a bit today, dear.
Am I? Sorry. Sorry. I'll try not to mumble. So we now have our 3 pieces. So if we go back to the overhead, please, Ian.
Yep.
Okay, and
Carol's grey paper from Lime Trees arrived today also.
yay! So I'm going to go to my middle layer first. And just because it's a circle, make sure your grain or your pattern is up the right way. Even though probably isn't a right way to a grain, but you know what I mean. So I'm just going to go round very quickly with a bit of glue. Just because it's a circle. If I'd have done it a square, then I would use my tape. But circle's a bit different. it's got the lid on it. It's like that doesn't work.
To put your staple back in.
Oh, I'll put that there. I don't need it quite up there. Yeah, I need to put my staple back in a minute. So, just roughly lining up my treble clef so that it goes with the grain. So I'm going to go from there and press down. And then I can go to my next piece.
Cool. She hand drew some tulips.
Cute. Don't forget to add all these things to the competition album as well. So I'm just going to use my nail to just try and align that in there. Give it a little press and just clean off any glue that squidges out on the way. Best to do it when it's still wet. Okay, so we have a frame.
Put up on that one.
Okay, do you want to just flick it over?
It's quite clear on there.
Okay. So there's our first one. And just because I know I'm going to get inundated with coloured bits, I'm just going to pile these up kind of neatly. Kind of. As neat as it gets on my desk anyway. So, just put that back in there carefully.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really so cool. It's quick and easy.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's the whole point, is that you can make things that look really difficult, but in actual fact are really, really easy just by using a little bit of magic on canvas, but because you can't use the subtract on the machine. So long as you've created your frames first, then anything else you can wow to your heart's content. You just need to do that first step. So that's why I always say, make sure you have your basic frames as well as all your pretty decorative ones. So if I go back home, I can still pull down the... Yeah, thank you. I can still pull down the frames. So we can still go add, and we could do something totally different. Let's go for... Could have used the bunny rabbit, I suppose. Let's go for this one. This could be fun. And we'll go. Okay, so it's going to be at the 100mm, so let's take that down a bit. I'll go for just under 75, so I'm going for 73, so that it kind of lines up at its widest point at the middle of our frame. So we can go OK, and OK again, and set. So now we have our little house. So now what you need to decide is whether you're going to use it in the square, in the rectangle, and I think with this one, let's go rectangle. So, and click off everything. Gonna go to the square.
Tracy, where did you say you got those frames from?
Made them. So literally the same process. So you do your outside shape, then you do your offset in by 4mm or whatever your adhesive is, and then subtract that shape from the original. I can't remember if I popped up a thing with all these on now. I might have popped up the file. So I'm going to bin those.
The real mail van just pulled up and delivered the parcel, so I'm just checking to see if she's coming in.
Yeah, because I suppose Pete's thing could come by parcel, couldn't it? So, OK, and delete.
Yes, transfer them to the machine, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go...
Internet for us.
Yeah. Drag our biggest one up. Let's just check the size on that. So... yeah. I'm going to go for that one. Going to click off. Bring your square in to get and to select both these two down here, and then we can delete them. Then we can zoom in, and then we can start to look at our design a bit closer. So if you wanted to, you can put it so that your houses stick out the top, and you can really go to town if you want and bring this box down here somewhere. And then you could do like a windy path if you felt that way inclined. But for now, I think just gonna click off that. Come on. Just want to get back to that one. And I'm even going to take it over to one edge. Maybe have a look. There we go. Okay. Now remember, before we weld, we need to add another one. Go OK. So you can drop that copy over here. Click off it. Then we're going to go to our frame. We want those two over there, OK, and weld. Now just remember with details like the house, if the frame goes underneath where the window is, you'll actually lose your window. So you just want to bear in mind little things like that when you're aligning your shape. But for now, that's all okay, that's all okay. So, let's go for I'm going to bring in some gorgeous foiled mirror card for our spooky house. I'm going to bring in, let's go for that one, some nice thick card. So the first thing to do again is to trim our card. So our house looks like it only needs about 5 inches max. If that. So I'm just going to trim it down there. Put that right there. And then our other square is probably about the right size for what we need. Now this is where it becomes fun. So the thing when you're cutting multiple materials on the scan and cut is it's quite easy when they're both the same thickness, but when they're not, we have to be a bit clever about how we do it. Okay, so mirror card. Probably should cut on the 5. So what I'm going to do is try to cut everything first. But before I do that, I will double check actually, just because I'm paranoid. Okay, so everything's fitting in. We're going to go OK. We're going to go to cut. Now remember, my blade is still my standard blade and it's on 5. So we're going to go cut. point stop. So we've paused it and we're going to go to quick cutting and okay. So first of all, let's check that our memory card has actually got through, which it has. Okay. And at this point we're going to go back. We're going to select our house. We're going to go to edit and we're going to go to delete. Okay. And go okay. Okay again. Now 480. Because it's a detailed one, we want to use standard blade. We're probably going to have to cut twice, aren't we?
Try an 8 first.
Yeah, we'll go for 8. Because this is thick. Now 480 I would usually say you could cut with a deep cut blade, but whenever you're doing something intricate we always advise that you swap to the standard blade, just because the way the two work is it's down to the angle that the blade is sharpened at. That's the real difference between the two. Okay. So we're going to go to cut.
The foil is so pretty. The colour of the foil is a pretty colour. Purple.
Go any further, I'm going to check where that's cut, and it's going to take another couple of goes I think to get through that. So at this point you just want to check in your corners, check they're not pulling, because if they are pulling then you need to put your pressure down. So my corners are still fine, I'm just going to pop it up to a 10.
Is happy.
Okay, so that's cut through fine. So we can go okay. Can you just let us know if you can hear us okay? Just in case the stream's gone.
No, Streamlabs is fine.
Okay. Can you see us all okay and hear okay? Just give us a thumbs up, just let us know. Before I move on to this next bit.
There you go.
So I'm going to go back.
Back from working, so.
I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to add another one and go okay. Going to bring this down here so we know it's clear of our other one, which is why we duplicate it so that we can check positioning.
Interesting, it keeps coming and going again.
Oh. Okay, so I'm going to go okay and add. Go back to pattern, back to basic shapes, and it's the first rectangle, and 170 looks correct. Set, and I'm going to bring this in I'm going to go to zoom, and I just want to position that so it's as close as possible. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into edit. I'm going to reduce the width very slightly, so we don't want to go any further than the 8mm of our frame. Just want to make sure it brings in the height and the width. Okay, we're going to go back and check our alignment again. Make sure it goes past the edges of our frame and that it's not overhanging anywhere. So if we go in here, so you can see it just needs to go up just a little. Okay, so that's all inside. Okay, we're going to go to our little frame selection. We're going to pull it down at the top. Go OK, so we've got both bits selected, and we're going to weld and OK, and then we can go to our top one and we can delete it because we don't need to cut it again. OK, OK, and cut. To check that it cut. Remember, we've cut twice on the other one, so I'm going to pop it back down to 8, which is what we did for our first cut. Okay, cut. Okay, so hopefully if we check carefully it should, it's still not quite cut through. That's weird, it cut that one fine. So I'll just cut it again, take it round again. Just going to pop it up just a little bit back up to 9. Just caught the bits that I hadn't cut. There we go.
The card that we're cutting at the moment is 480 black card.
From Ryman's.
From Ryman's in the UK. Want it back on overhead for a minute?
Yes, please. So what I love about this card is it's really, really thick board. So I use it a lot for construction wise, but it's also great for doing things like tags, ATCs, inches, ATC coins if you do those. I've cut those on here before from the 480. So I'm just going to take these little bits out.
It's extraordinarily thick. It's a very nice card, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got some real strength to it. So if something calls for grey board, quite often I'll go to this one and just do a couple of extra layers. It's just great for things like that, and then you don't have to worry about priming it or anything.
It's 480 GSM.
Comes in black and white. Yeah, come on, next window. A bit fiddly. There we go. I'm done. So we have our background, our frame layer, So what I'll do off stream is I'll actually paint a lovely sky in here, layer it up with the board, so that then we have a nice black frame, and then finally we have a little house layer that will sit on top, and they all fit perfectly. Okay. So I won't do those yet because I want to do that. It's much easier to do when it's all pieces. So next, clean the mat.
We're going back to.
Yes. Well, actually, we could do it going to display because I could do you bringing it in the
Solids.
Well, you could show the solids, but I don't need the solids at the moment. I need the decorative frame that we did.
Did you save that in?
It's an SVG.
Okay.
That piece probably not on this. Yeah. Go for that one. So the advantage is when you're working with a thicker card, you can actually go thinner in your detail as well.
Put it up on here so they can see what I do.
Yeah, that's what. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Don't talk them through what I'm going to do because I've started a fresh one and I'm just putting in the frame. What's it saved as?
Are you in the streaming folder? Yeah.
Yes.
It's the simple decorative frame.
That one. Oh, dang. How big do you want it?
Okay. So I want it so it is around 5 inches wide, please.
Yeah, it's 5.23 high. Is that okay?
Yeah, height isn't important. The width is. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's 5 inches at the moment.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
So I can send that to you?
Yep.
So I guess all I did was open the SVG file and then I just changed the width over here in the properties to 5 inches. And I'm going to send that to Natty. That's done.
Okay. So
We're
over
back to
here,
you.
I'm going to go home to wipe everything out because we're now starting afresh. Going to go into pattern and retrieve, and here we've brought in our design. We'll do a background scan because we always do.
Andrea says your little house one's so freaking cute.
It is cute. Okay, so there's our decorative frame. I'm going to go OK, and I'm going to go to cut.
Left it on 9.
Possibly back
No,
up to
leave it
10.
on 9.
Leave it on 9. Even though it took 10, 8 and 9 to put it last time.
Do it twice on 9. Right.
Okay, you reckon?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can go
Cute and shiny and purple. Lol. That's alright, Sarah, don't be that mind. This afternoon, sorry, late again.
Oh dear, that's another mark in the register.
So Tracy said you missed roll call, Sarah, so you get detention now.
Okay, once more, you reckon? With feeling. Yeah, that goes.
Are you waiting?
Go on then, because you've got it in me. Shoot. I'll even.
So, just while that's cutting out and it's making a lot of noise for Natalie, I'll speak up a little bit. Don't forget that we have our competition running at the moment, which Natalie is currently holding up a sample of the prize. We have a few of these to give away, so if you'd like to win a set of our lovely 3D Probably told you have the Sharpie pen holder and the universal pen holder in there. We might put some extra bits in as well.
Yeah.
All we ask is that we have one piece of.
You can enter as many times as you
Enter
like.
as many times as you like. And if it's something you've done during lockdown, that would be cool.
Inspired by something that we've done.
Yeah, and inspired by something we've done. There's a folder on the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, already set up. And if you want to place your entries in there, you just click the add photo to the album in the album, and you can add your entries into there. So we're giving you till the end of May to get your entries in, and we'll do a little winners video type thing at the end of at the start of June. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have to shout anymore. Stop.
Yeah. Just want to check all these little bits as put through because it is quite intricate. Want to make sure before you take it off the mat. So if it hasn't for any reason, but it doesn't look like it has in certain places. Let's check this one over here. It's just a couple I think haven't quite released. So I think that one just there.
And Mouse Nat is doing that. The pink ones are unique to us at Plancraft. You won't get them if you get them ordinary ones. You get a nice blue one from Carl.
Or red sometimes.
Or red sometimes, but the pink one is unique to us. So they are limited edition as well.
I'm just going to do it once more.
Do you want to put your border background as well, just so you know? Or we delete the outside square?
It does the outside square last, so it's just through the intricate bits. So I will.
She's off again.
then they go for it from there. So just because it's intricate, I'm going to unload it from the...
Changing cameras.
Pick up the right toad. So I'm just going to take that off there. Pop out these last few. Little herringbones. So because this is quite structural card, we can actually use a backing piece that is patterned, for example, and you can actually then put in some glossy accents or any kind of clear gloss, and you'll get like a glazed tile effect.
Okay, question from Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
One that you're probably best to answer because you're good at this sort of thing.
Okay.
She made a really nice border ages ago that I really loved, and do you think I can find it on my computer? No. So that got me thinking, do you have any tips on organising your files?
Oh yeah, that's definitely one to ask me. Okay, organising files is better if you start straight away. So I always tell people that have literally just got their scanner cut out of their boxes to decide on your file structure before you even start designing, usually. There are several ways that you can do it. So you could do it, say, by frames, 3D, basic shapes, like vinyl, the lettering designs and so on and so forth.
Another helpful.
Or you could do it by the content. So, for instance, you could have a florals folder, so all your flowers together. You could do a words folder, so all your words together. Cars, travel, etc. A bit like how it's done on the machine. It really depends on how you work as a crafter. Do you find yourself thinking, I just need some flowers to go with that, or do you find yourself thinking, oh, I had that file from Bird's Cards, for instance, so if you had loads of files from different online places, usually what I'd say is you put those as like subfolders in like a kind of catch-all folder of files by others. Then in that you could have design bundles, Creative Fabrica, wherever you download from. Then inside those folders you then have your individual collections. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, I'll pop up a copy of mine.
I was going to say also, it's also useful to have something like Dropbox, which is like your online storage, because then you have access to it anywhere. So if you change your computer, you don't necessarily lose all your files. So for your crafting files, they're always worth having on something like Dropbox, so it keeps it.
Yeah,
like
and Affinity will link to Dropbox. If you have Affinity on your iPad or on your tablet.
Yeah, when you save a file, then it'll go across.
You can save a file through Dropbox, and you can also save a file through iCloud as well. So I tend to use iCloud on mine.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a good one to start practicing early, that. So I'm going to get rid of all these little pieces, but things like this you can keep for other projects. Especially with the 480, because it's not expensive, but it's one of those things you don't really want to waste if you can help it. There we go. So there's our frame. And then, as I was saying, you could put backing paper behind it. Or you could even, what are they called? The glaze paints that I used to have, and they're funky. So anything where it's going to dry with a 3D finish, you can just feed in through your channels, and you get a lovely sparkly finish to it. But for now, I'm going to go with... Let's go for something nice and bright so you can see it through it. Really light subtle.
something bright, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a hint of a hoot.
Oh, what am I pressing?
So this is a really, really lovely but older pad, isn't it?
Yes, remembering what you named things is always handy.
Yeah. You want something that's going to contrast enough with your frame. So that's looking quite good. So I'm going to pull out a sheet of that one. Okay. And I have a colouring pad that is from the same range, but you could easily use when you doodles for this. So I think I'm going to go with that's going to be too big. That looks kind of cute, so I think I'm going to go for that one. And you get quite a few of each design, so it's not like you have to be precious and think, oh, that's the only one in the pad, which is always good. So I'm going to start off by putting my decorative paper there, and then I should just have enough room to get my little owl on here. It doesn't matter if it goes just over the edge.
Bring that to centre.
Okay. So I'm going to load my mat back in. Now, first thing to do before you do anything else is change your blade back down to 5. Because the last thing you want to do is go and use your blade at 9 and cut through your mat. So I'm going to go back.
Yes, you can get Artistics mats for the DX machines.
Oh, did somebody ask, did they?
Tracy.
Ah, yes. Sorry, I've not said that. Oops. Sorry, Lee, if you're watching. But yes, you can get Artistics mats for both. If you do have a silhouette, or I believe he does a cricket, I know he for certain he does a silhouette, and I believe he also still does one for the craft robo. Because I used to be a craft robo user.
Does he ship to Australia?
I
I know he used to, I don't know if he still does.
I think he is shipping there, but it's quite expensive. There was somebody who was importing them into Australia and then shipping them out from there because it was cheaper. So it may be worth asking on your local Scan and Cut forum for who that may be. I mean, I haven't seen any mention of that in a few months though, so I don't know if that's still the case with COVID going on. If
not, I'll have a chat with Lee and see how much he charged for postage for you.
So I'm going to add in a square.
Yeah, I'll have a chat with Lee as well, just to confirm a price for him, see if he's still shipping out.
And actually, before I take that over, I'm just going to do, because I want the duplicate to get that aperture for my L, I'm going to go OK, take that down there and out of the way. Going to bring this in here. I'm going to, oh, no, don't want to do that. Select with the frame, drag it in, so I just want this top two. I'm going to go to my 4-arrow tool and I'm going to line it to the centre, so then I know my square that I'm adding is in the middle.
That's alright then.
Then I can click off and we've still got that centre square selected. Then I can slowly increase that until it fills past the detail in our frame.
We've also started to, with the download files, we have 3 books, 3 like display books full of printed images with the file names with them. So when we have a collection, we print it off.
Do you want? Shall I show one on camera?
Yeah, I'll swap it to the overhead.
Okay. Oh.
Let's get Natalie to show you one of the files. Which one did you pick?
The design bundles one because it's nice and full.
The one that's full. Yes.
Yeah. So he's literally full. So I have a mega pack that I was lucky enough to win. So I have all the thumbnails for that in there because I've run out of space in here. It's waiting for a new folder. So I have the lovely lavender scrapbook papers, the Valentine gnomes and the ladybirds. So basically at the bottom of each page I have what folder it's in. And I've also put in a copy of the license that I have for it as well. So if I just move that bit on screen so you can see that a bit better. And the reason I've done that is so that I know which ones I can and can't use in designs that I'm showing on screen now.
Yeah.
So that's basically how we do it. And, you know, it probably gets used and abused, which is what it's there for.
We still have more to put in yet, don't we?
Yeah, we've run out of room well and truly.
To get another folder.
So
That's an amazing way of doing
I have a few pages left at the end, but those are for some of the freebies that we've had since. So they've got to go in there. So that's ready to go.
Make it much easier to search. Yeah, we currently have three books worth, don't we?
Yeah. If you are on Mac, if you message me, I set up a like a little widget so that I can go to any folder in my Finder, go to Quick Actions, and it will actually do all the thumbnails for me. So quite laziness. I don't even have to do all the design or anything. So you can just print it out and go.
No, those designs are all ones we've downloaded over the times that we've been downloading files. So they're all.
Yeah, I haven't done mine yet.
Yeah, we haven't done all of Natalie's.
I need a bigger folder.
Yes, I think Tracy probably has the biggest collection of Natalie's.
Yeah, she has the biggest collection because I think we gave her literally every single one, didn't we?
Mm.
Except for maybe some of the can-do stuff, but...
Yes. And Tracy's on a Mac, yes. So. Can you send your widget? Can you?
I think I can, yeah.
There you go. So we'll see if we can send that across to you, Tracy.
I'm just gonna go a little bit bigger. Check that's not gone too big. Zoom in. Just want to make sure that it's got all the detail. Okay.
Tracy, I'm probably going to need so many books. The other way to do it, of course, would be a ring binder and a lever arch file with Polly Pockets in or something like that.
Yeah. So you'll notice it's got a few little bits and pieces where we've done the wild, but that's fine. For starters, you can use those for alignment and they won't really show up that much. So we can go okay for that. Then this one over here, we're going to want to add, go back to another little square, set, going to bring it down, going to go into edit, multiple select, go to the frame select again, select both, go into the 4 arrow, line, and go centre and centre. Okay. Click off it, so we have our centre one highlighted on its own. we're going to go down, 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 and so long as you get it past your detail, that's fine.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. Doesn't have to go all the way. What's that?
Swap the cameras back.
What did you have it on?
Still on the overphoto.
Alright, okay.
Because we changed it for this thing.
So I'm just going to go
Sorry,
okay,
Carol. Yes,
and just zoom in and just double check that that's right. Maybe a little bit more. Just pull in a little bit. Okay. Then we can delete our original. And move our square up here. Go OK. Background scan.
Tracy says she has 200 gig on just on Google Drive, but doesn't include anything else. I have some sorting to do.
Yeah. Yeah, so the first thing is you need to do designs that are yours and designs that are other people's. Then in your other people's, who are they from? Then next, what is it? So if you think about that as you drop down. In yours, you want to go either by what is it, or what does it have in it? So is it flowers, is it text?
Carol's asked if we can send her a copy of our design.
I'll let you talk that one through by private message.
Yeah.
And I'll see if I can get that widget and send it somehow as well.
That's
to Tracy.
Yeah.
Okay, so because our scan is quite light, I'm just going to go in and darken it up a bit. And I'm just going to roughly position it over the top for now. And our rectangle, I'm just going to move it in just a little. Can then go to zoom. And I'm just going to check my little owl. I think I'm just going to move it just there. Go OK. And OK again. OK again. Now remember we changed our blade to 5, so we can go cut.
And Tracy says that stuff is easy, thoroughly organised, lot, good money spent. Still reading the magazine. Oh, sorry, the awesome magazine. Super sick.
April of magazines, isn't it? I'm still writing the next book as well. Okay, so I'm going to come in and the paper should have cut straight off, so it shouldn't need any additional cut. So I can go, okay, take that off. Now this one we need to go a bit more careful, just check. Yep, it's all cut fine. There we go.
Yep, no, that's fine, Tracy.
So, if I just load that for a second, just so I can have a bit of desk space.
Okay, we'll go back to overhead.
It's going to go there on. Yeah, that way. And just going to, no, that way. Close enough. Okay. So, first things first, I think I'm going to colour my little owl before I put them on there actually. So,
Just says the owl looks very confused, Law.
yeah, he looks a bit uncertain, doesn't he? Why have you cut me off the tree? I liked my tree.
What at the point you've chopped his tail off?
Surely then he'd just look pained rather than confused. So I'm just basically doing a little bit of shading And then I'm going to blend it out with a water brush in a minute.
Have we got one with some water in?
The Arteza one.
Oh yeah, awful.
I'm going to use some brown on his ears. I know they're not ears, but close enough. I'm just going to flick it in. Okay. Then I go in with a little bit of Crimson Lake. He's going to be a little pink owl because although he's on a pink background, got to bring the colour in somehow. And it is a hint of a hoop raspberry, so he can be a little raspberry owl. He says that they have to be the same colours they are in real life. That's what cameras are for.
That's what imagination is for.
Well, if you want something to match, go and take a picture of it. I'm going to put a little bit under his beak.
He's a man owl, only real men can wear pink.
Okay. So, if you're just picking up a water brush, just check your tip is clean. Especially if it looks a little stained, because the last thing you want to do is to go and put your brush on your artwork and have it in a different colour. So I'm just dragging the colour in. And the joy of the watercolour pencils is they're quite subtle, so you can just let the colours mingle.
So which pencils that you used?
The Derwent watercolour pencils. And I believe our Derwent code still stands.
Yes.
So I'm just going to go in with a bit more colour for his beak.
If anybody does need the Derwent code again, just let me know and I'll pop it up in the chat. That's it. I need to see it.
Put a little bit more in here. Now because it's damp, it will go on thicker. So I can really go to town on it. And we can do a little bit just on these ears where it blended out a bit. He's a very cute little owl. So again, I'm just going to flick on these sections. And flick upward. So flick down.
It should be back in a second, Tracy. It's just having a bit of a... It's only a brief go slow, just pop back.
And flick upwards.
And Tracy is the best looking owl I've seen for a while.
Okay. So I'm just going to pop a little tiny bit of glue just around this frame. So I'm going right up to the edge tiniest amount because we don't want it to spill through. Who would like me to do some more colouring videos? I'm just going to pop that in there. Give it a nice little press. Then we can turn it back over and we can, I'm just going to go for a dot more or less every point of our biggest section, and I can just do the corners. Oh, I didn't and just go in those little sections just there because there's quite a bit there as well, and just top and bottom there just to give something to hold. Now this is the tricky one because you want to get it the right way up first time. And you have a couple of seconds where you can wiggle everything into the right place, and when you're happy you can press down. And there's our little hint of a hoot. Okay.
Yep.
I think I've done all the techniques that I wanted to do because
Okay.
the one that I did with the flowers is more or less what I did with these ones. Yep. So unless there's anything else that you'd like me to show you, I'm going to go off and paint a cloud for my spooky house.
You'll put your finish makes up, won't you?
Yes, I will do, as usual.
Is that it?
Yep, that's it for today, and tomorrow,
Can't remember.
I only put them up yesterday. Come on, Brain. Oh dear. Have a quick check for me, Ian.
Bear with. Tomorrow is character drawing.
Cool. So we're going to be drawing some cute characters in the morning. So
And afternoon. It's all day.
well, yeah, we're designing them in Affinity in the morning, and then we're going to be doing some drawing and colouring in the afternoon. So we're going to be doing hopefully some cute animals. I might even get you to do a human being or two if you're feeling brave. So have a think about what sort of animals you'd like me to do, and you can always pop them up in the group as a challenge.
There you go. Yes. Matt Tracy. And we'll see you tomorrow. And yes, I'll get Natalie to try and send that widget over if we can. And I'll drop you a private message, Carol, about the files. Okay. Don't forget Pete's on at 4 o'clock with his make a card. And then you got Barbara in the morning at 10. We're back at 11. And you got Lou at 12, Pete at 12:30. Have a nice evening or afternoon, and stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep, bye!